hanging out with my dogs on the porch, enjoying the spring weather. And I was thinking this morning about how I think the only thing left about my natural personality that's not incorporated into the brand that I'm building is probably my sense of humor. I mean, there's a little bit of it, but I actually really love nonsense logic like you find in Alice in Wonderland or like the Phantom Toll Booth, where things are changing the rules of logic of the universe based on wordplay, stuff like that. So I'm thinking I'm going to put that in some sort of like fine print in a time travel or magical contract in the Step Through the Moon series I'm working on. But it got me thinking, most of my creative prompts and process are not oriented toward humor. So if you have any suggestions, I'd love to hear what inspires you in that way. So I can include that in the creative prompts that I'm creating for people. I think most of the vibe is relaxing in nature. I mean, how lucky am I that that's my front door, right? But I was thinking this morning about how, I can't remember if it was, don't quote me on this, Annie Dillard or that type of writer, somebody like that, had a father move to Muir Beach in California, north of San Francisco. There are a bunch of artists and writers there. And they ended up getting all depressed and ending up on drugs because they sort of lost their sense of purpose and lost their stimulation, even though they lived in a beautiful place near the beach. I don't think I'm going to angst that much about it because I've been through too much at this point in my life to let myself fall into that trap, but it's so easy, no shade. So anyway, I just want to make sure that there's a little bit of humor, a little bit of like joie de vivre, I guess, in the creative prompts and the work that I'm doing and the way that I help other people. Because I really don't like it when people, I guess, enjoy nature and then turn it into some sort of spiritual ego battle, like proving that they're more relaxed than everybody else. It's just pointless. So I think where I'm going to start is last year at a writers' conference I went to, a poet named Catherine Wing had us doing some scientific field guide type research for poetry and then structuring things on a framework of science. And you can go back to my flipping a metaphor video or Bear River videos from last year, September 2025, thereabouts, if you want to try that or learn more. But I was going to start with that kind of stuff because we ended up having so much fun. It didn't have to be serious. Maybe it was just a great group, but we ended up making collages out of natural, found objects and organizing things in different taxonomies. That was kind of the point of that exercise. But for some reason it was hilarious. And because, how do you make categories, new categories to categorize things? We had some pretty funny criteria. So, and then I ended up with an essay where you were supposed to look at the metaphors we usually use for describing things and then flip it. So I'll run you through it, but there's this whole exercise in vocabulary listing and contrasting different sensory metaphors and stuff. But for some reason, what I ended up with after that stage was, next step was personifying whatever you were studying in poetry. Typical me, born animist, I personified a sturgeon as a surgeon at the bottom of Lake Michigan. See, play on words. And it was all about flipping the metaphor of endangered species and how we are sort of human-centric and how we think about whether things are worth saving, like endangered sturgeon. And instead it was like a future climate change crazy reality in which the sturgeon were deciding how to like harvest human roe and use it for stem cell research, because that's what salmon roe is used for, or sturgeon, excuse me. So this is how I get myself in a pickle, right? It's way too complicated. It's hard to understand. It's bizarre. It's several layers deep. So I'm going to be exploring some creative prompts that are making more fun activity that you could take in different directions depending on the flavor of how you like to write. And hopefully incorporating a little bit of nonsense logic into my work, because it just, I don't know, it just puts a lot of joy into life for me to play with language that way and play with logic that way. It's always been fun. So stay tuned, and if you know of any great resources, send them my way so I can kind of piece some things together for people. I'm really looking forward to this.